All right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to make rip cuts on the table saw for parts to make the coffee table. You're probably already familiar with the table saw since you used it in basic woods, but there's going to be a few new things to learn this time around. First is that we're going to be using hardwoods instead of the soft pine you're familiar with. Second is that we're going to be making all of our cuts in this class on the table saw shorter than the margin of safety. Okay, in basic woods we were like 11 1/8 and 9. In this class it's 3 3/8, 3, 2, and then 1. So if you remember from your safety test, anything with the fence set below 4 inches, you're gonna need push sticks. So in this class, we're gonna be using push sticks all the time on the table saw. So something new to learn there, okay? In the previous video, we did our cross cuts, and whether you do cross cuts first or rip cuts first depends on how you maximize the potential of your board. Whether you do a rip cut to separate a bunch of pieces that will then be legs and separate some pieces that'll be skirts, or so on. For the board that we happened to grab, it made a lot of sense to do our cross cuts first because I was going to get 2 of the skirt shorts. I was going to get 2 of the long short tops, and then I was going to get 2 of the long tops. So it made sense to do my cross cuts first, get all those lengths matched, and then just make my rip cuts. So it will vary which way you do it. Okay, so as far as setup goes, a couple things. Number one, let's check the blade height. Okay, that is way too high. So if you ever have to make a blade height adjustment, okay, you are actually going to go to this dial. First thing you do is you loosen that center pin, and then as I crank this counterclockwise, let me see, I can make sure I see what you guys are seeing here. Make sure that that blade height is just above the wood. Okay, so there you go, that looks good. Okay, and so yeah, that's this dial here. Tighten that center knob, so when you're done, keep that from sliding around. Okay, that's the first thing to check. Second thing is adjusting the fence to the correct width. So we're actually going to make our tops first, so that's going to be 3 3/8. Now I'll see if I can get it on camera here, but this is probably the hardest dimension to find in Woods 2. There we go. Okay, so that's 3 3/8 right there. You know, the ruler is in 30/2 of an inch. And then when this zooms in, it really makes the 30 seconds look like 16ths. So pretty common mistake to accidentally set this to 3/16 instead of 3/8. So if you're ever unsure, if you just want to flag me down and have me check, more than happy to check that for you. So we're set to 3 3/8. I'm going to rip this board down, and then I'm going to take this other piece, which is my other top short, and send it through. And then once those boards are done, I'll set that over. I'll do the same thing here. Okay, now remember, we have one good jointed edge and one rough edge that's not jointed. I definitely want that to be my scrap. So, and I want to keep this edge. So I'm definitely going to put the good edge against the fence. Okay. Now, hopefully you're not the only one in the room like I am right now. And somebody will be on the other side catching for you. On your first couple of cuts, I'd like that to be me. So try to flag me down if this is going to be your first rip cut. But once we get rolling, I'm comfortable with you guys catching for each other. So, just kind of rotate or go to the saw in groups or whatever it may take. So I've got a little stand there with a roller that should catch my board for me. So now it should. Okay, so technique, we know we got the fence set up, we got the blade set up, its debris is cleared, it's straight up, it's not tilted at an angle or anything like that. So now we're going to use push sticks. Notice how we're standing to the left of the machine now. Okay, you'll have one push stick here, and that push stick is the same thing as the forward hand on the other side. It's putting good down pressure on the board and pressure against the fence. Okay, the backhand, now you don't have to use this push stick right away. You can see here that this is going to be a mess. So what I can do is I can leave that here, use my hand at the beginning, but then once my hand gets close to the blade, I will have to switch to a push stick. So I'll just have that there at the ready. This left hand, you want to keep it at this spot and have the board, you know, slide past it. So it'll be kind of like this. Okay, the idea is if you keep going over here, you're eventually going to start pinching the blade when both pieces of wood are there. So we don't want to pinch the blade. That can cause kickbacks and problems. So this hand is doing a lot. It's pushing the board down, it's pushing it tight against the fence, but also it's letting the board slide past it. So watch how I do that. I'm going to push the piece all the way through with the push stick, and then I can actually bump the power with my leg here, which is kind of nice to have it on this side. Make sure you don't do it by accident, though. I've seen people bump that when they're trying to reach or something, and then halfway through their part they're stuck. So anyway, here we go. So again, hopefully you got somebody over here catching for you. Yeah, that second time I did a better job not getting my left hand too far. I think I kind of did a bad example there. But anyway, pretty efficient. You know, if that's all the scrap that you have, that's not bad. Okay, so those are my top shorts. Now let's do the same for my top longs. Now, you might have saw I adjusted this hand a little bit. You know, when you're pushing this one through, try not to hug too far one side or the other, because then you could put some twisting force. So you definitely want to be in the center of your board with that right hand. Okay. Okay, last cut for this one. Yeah, it's unfortunate. If that was an inch wide, we could have used it as trim. That's okay. I'm sure we'll get trim out of another board. Okay, so now this one is skirt short. So now that one we set to 3. That's pretty easy. Okay. This one I'll hold on to. That might work as trim. We'll see. The trim is supposed to be 16. You're supposed to go a little more than 16. The 16 is kind of the perfect number, so I'm not going to throw that away just yet. Okay, but we'll bring this back to the table. Okay, maybe trim, we'll see. Okay, so we have our top longs that are a little over 42. Don't forget to not, make those a little big. And these are the top shorts, a little over 24. That's okay. Okay, and then we have our first 2 skirts. Those are dead on 16. So okay, maybe we'll cut that. Okay, so I'm gonna skip ahead and I'm gonna get my, all my 20 boards either ripped or cross-cut so we can move on to the next step. But like, we definitely got a good start here. Everything else is just, like following the instructions, trying to, get your 20 boards you need out of with wasting as little material as possible, having as little go into the scrap bin. So in the next video, we will have all of our boards, and then I'll show you how to use the time saver to get them sanded down to thickness, and that'll help get rid of these marks and stuff, and then get them to exactly 3/4. You may notice how your boards are definitely thicker than 3/4.